Internets. It's Paul. It's Matt, the Dork Lords. We are here talking about Maniac. We can only do this 2 more times, so we got to get this in.
That's true.
We're talking about Maniac.
Oh.
No, we'll just keep talking about it.
There you go.
Long after it's done. Season 1, of which we're not sure there's actually going to be a season 2.
I don't think there is.
Okay, so
This is
the
a
season.
mini-series.
Episodes 7 and 8 out of a 10 episode arc. So we're gonna episodes 9 and 10 are coming next week.
They're coming up. They're coming.
Then wash our hands.
No more Maniacs.
So episode 7 and 8. Ce n'est pas un drill, and The Lake in the Clouds, which are essentially one kind of hour-long episode split into 2 half-hour episodes.
Sure.
More or less.
Sure.
Which is I'm cool with. I think that's fine. I think we were talking about this, but you know, when you're on a medium like Netflix or Amazon, or where you don't have to worry about commercials,
Right.
why make yourself a slave to the idea of it's got to be 44 minutes or
Right,
whatever.
and you don't even have to worry about we got to wait a whole another week for that episode. No, it's right there, right there for you to watch whenever you want.
So, dink, bink. In this case, it involves the complete purpose for the entire show going to a medieval fantasy realm. Woo! Okay, they don't do it that awesome actually, but still, I like the intent.
In the word of Annie, you love this shit.
That's right. That's her sister, Queen Princess Elia. As we know from episode 1, I believe, the sister, loves Hawk the Slayer, and hence we get the idea of medieval fantasy generally.
Yes.
Because this isn't really, an exact duplicate of Hawk the Slayer.
No.
It's just a medieval setting where they're elves. So she's a half elf, and he's a half elf.
Half elf.
And has mangled ears.
Mangled ears.
Which are basically just ears.
I think so.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. They looked a little elfin to me.
Yeah, it was tough to tell. I didn't get a close up. Like, I thought she had jewelry on them, maybe, but I don't know. Maybe they're actually mangled as well.
They look mangled.
They did not look mangled.
I think just not as elfy as other ears.
Right. Because her sister definitely has elfy ears.
Yes.
And later,
What's it all about, elfy?
when Greta shows up as the queen, she has elfy ears as well. At the very end of the episode 8.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. I forgot that she did end up... I was thinking of the soothsayer or whatever she was.
Oh, yeah.
Was definitely not Annie, but not
not
Greta. But
Correct.
Greta was at the end, yes.
Okay. So, what you've got is they've taken the sea pill, the confrontation. So they've explored their pain, life's pain in these scenarios in the B section. Now they're confronting their pain. And so, as we kind of guessed, these particular scenarios, Owen and Annie are doing alone.
Yes.
They're not with each other.
For the most part.
For the most part, they find their way together.
Yes.
Kind of.
Well, no.
Yeah, ish.
Right, because to spoil it, because I'm just going to talk about it.
Yeah, what?
Like, he comes in, he's like, Annie.
I'm a hawk.
But it sounds like,
Oh, yeah, good point.
Squawk, squawk.
She does look at the hawk, probably because it's making
Squawking
a bunch of
at her,
noise.
yeah.
But does she know that? She knows the hawk story was important. He does mention that to her.
Yeah.
She could theoretically, because she is.
See, I don't
at that
think
moment,
as invested in this, animal theme as you are.
I am. There was also a talking dragonfly in here, but I feel like there's totem animals. I mentioned this.
They're talking
And I'm still-
like maggots or whatever those things
Oh,
were
yeah, those are
around.
talking
They're-
too.
Yeah.
But there was a dragonfly that kind of filled her in on stuff.
Yes. That was the voice of the ad buddy.
Oh, good call.
I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was.
I missed
the
that.
ad buddy,
The ad buddy's a dragonfly. That would be
Yeah.
good. So yeah, we got to figure out what Annie's totem animal is. I think it's still going to be that missing puppy, that missing dog from the first bit that she lost her sister's dog. It sounded like, and she's still putting up wanted posters like 7 years later. We haven't heard the rest of that story. Anyway, that's my guess. Puppy. Olivia's an owl. Okay. I don't know what that all means even. Not that, I mean, he did turn into a hawk.
Yes.
But I don't think he's turned into a hawk in the real world. And he's going to fly away.
I definitely don't think that.
But he is, in his virtual world, he's a hawk. Okay, so just to back it up a little bit, because a lot happens in a short period of time.
Yes.
It is not a lot of time, but woof.
Yes.
Moves. Okay, so to confront Owen's pain, which we assume is the psychotic break that he had because he was assured that Olivia was being paid by his parents to like him. His version of the scenario is his family's a mob family.
Yep.
Much again like that the scenario they had when they were trying to steal the lemur.
Yes.
And there's the mob family with the furs that I thought, I bet you that's his side of things.
Could be.
So he's got Gabriel Byrne is here. The brothers are here, although Jed for a long time isn't in this.
Yep.
He's talked about you had another brother.
Yep.
But we won't talk about it.
Like, no, he was a lying, kid. He lied all the time. He cried, and he.
Yeah.
So thankfully I caught it early before he was one and got rid of him. It's like babies can't lie.
Yeah. So Owen is in his family, and he is the FBI. He's an informant for the FBI, and he's kind of riding this thin line because his family kills anybody that's not loyal, and we see some very gruesome deaths.
We do.
In fact, the title of the episode in Un Drill is regarded to Gabriel Byrne drilling guys in the head.
Yes. He's like, he wanted him to take responsibility. He wanted to say that he drilled the guy in the head when it was his father. Like, oh, okay. You look crazy. So, yeah, I believe it.
Right, exactly. That's the idea of like the family wants him to take the fall, and they're like, oh yeah, because you look crazy, so they believe that you would do this, and much like in the real world, obviously they want him to not take the fall, but be an alibi for Jed in a criminal matter.
Yes.
So the family is conspiring. It's like a mob, and that it's a conspiracy to protect the family, and he is by at least considering not testifying in the real world, he would be considered disloyal.
Sure.
And so in this situation, he's disloyal to the family and is trying to stay alive while doing that. But the drill moment, at least the line, the drill is a reference to Magritte's painting of a pipe. It's a drawing of a pipe, and it says, ceci n'est pas une pipe, which is basically, this is not a pipe. Point being, this is a drawing of a pipe. It's not actually a pipe, but when you looked at it, you thought pipe. So the idea that you're in this dream world where you're seeing things that you assume are real, but they're not actually real. They're just images.
It's not a drill.
And then also, it's not a drill is obviously a common phrase. This isn't a drill. This is real. This is happening, and your life's at stake. You, Owen. So, Owen, in the meantime, also meets up while he's got the FBI folks that he's trying to meet up. I think they're FBI, whatever. The people that he's informing for.
Yes.
He meets with them a few times. Then he's back in, and he's like, is he wearing a wire? I think he's wearing a wire. I can't remember. I think he's wearing a wire. And so it's very dangerous.
Yes.
And people are dying left and right. He also then meets up with a classmate of his who works at a fast food joint or something, a diner, and that's Olivia. And so Olivia's being nice to him, and then this is that confrontational moment where, obviously in the real world, when Olivia was nice to him, he freaked out, and we learn about that in this dream. Olivia even mentions, I had this boyfriend once, and he freaked out on me and went through my purse, and he did all these horrible things to me, and he said
she was saying that when they were discussing in the dream, she was impressed with how he's going to school, and he was telling about it. She's like, "What are you doing in school? Like, you know all this stuff, and
He was talking about the Gnostics.
she like, and surprised at how he comes off as sort of a tough guy, like her ex-boyfriend.
Gotcha.
So her ex-boyfriend was involved in crime and thought that she was giving information to the FBI. So he thought she was bugging him, so he went crazy on her. And so Owen became interested, because obviously it resonated with him. He asked her if that ex-boyfriend ever apologized. She said no, and then he began to give rationales for how.
Yeah, why someone might not apologize
Right.
and yet feel sorry.
Right.
He's like, maybe he felt ashamed.
Yeah.
And he just wanted to try to put it all behind him.
Pretend it didn't happen.
And there's a cool bit too in that conversation where they're talking about the Gnostics, and she's like, "Oh, what are those? Is that like agnostic?" And he says, "No, they were just disciples. They wrote these stories. They didn't get in the Bible because when the people who were making the Bible decided to do it, they left stories out because they didn't fit the narrative." And he said, much like the brain kind of weeds out stories that don't fit the pattern of what your life experience should be according to the brain, that your brain is a selective story. And I think that was some good insight into maybe even like the mission statement of this series.
Yeah.
He talks to Olivia, and in a version of success, instead of turning her away, he says, let's run away together.
Later, once everything goes to crap. I mean, one of the things they establish between them actually is Owen. She talks about her family, like whether or not they would want to, their ambitions for life, right? So the reason why he's in school is that he wants better for his life
than just to be a gangster.
And Olivia in this dream mentions that people say she could be a model, but
Oh, right. She has hypothermia, which means that her skin's really hot.
Yeah, and so because her family, it's cold, they want her to stick around.
Yeah. Right, yeah, they want her to. I guess the idea being she would provide heat.
To the home.
To the home. She's a heat source for her family, and so that's her.
Right, but the observation that Owen makes then is like, look at this, people talk about unconditional love, but these families have all these conditions for you. So one of the things that the Olivia in the dream imagined that she would like a family without conditions.
Yes.
So that's how they set up, in terms of what Owen is driving for in this dream.
Gotcha. And so there comes a moment where he's meeting with the FBI guys, and Jed finally shows up, and he's like, "I'm the lost brother."
Yeah.
And he kills the FBI guys, and he's gonna kill Owen.
Is he gonna kill Owen?
I think he's had a gun on him. He's holding him.
He's talking about how much he loves him and he's admiring him and everything.
But then he has an ear ring. Oh, he takes the ring. Right, the FBI agent is actually his fiance.
Yes,
in real life.
Right,
it's the one that Owen cares about.
Right,
so he kills her.
Yeah,
and then he's taking the ring off her, and he drops the ring. And as he's trying to pick it up, door opens, and it's the consigliere, the attorney for Gabriel Byrne, who comes in and just brutally
blows him in half.
Yeah,
literally.
Kills him very, very
violently.
Yeah. Gorily,
yeah.
So so Jed is killed off, and this guy, the FBI informant, the other FBI informant who's in the family, is like, "We got to go now. We'll give you a new life," which is again what Owen in real life is always wanting to find a new.
Sure.
Like, we can run away together and start something new. So this is perfect. But he's like, "I'm not going by myself. We got to make a stop first." He stops by the diner. He's like, "Olivia, let's go now."
Yeah.
I know it's crazy. Let's do this.
Right.
She's like, "Okay."
Yeah.
And he convinces her to go, and they go, and then there's a cuts to they're having
7 years later or something.
They have 7 kids.
Yeah.
I think they're all girls, is what it looked like to me, but I don't know that for a fact. But and they're living in this little tiny one room apartment.
Yeah.
So life's not going well economically,
for
sure.
Yeah.
He looks unhappy.
He does.
She's kind of yelling at the kids a little bit. And then...
Yeah, and they have these weird names.
Oh, right. They named him after all the continents.
Yeah.
Australia, Africa.
Yeah.
So there's 7 kids. I would guess maybe the 7 continents. I don't know. But maybe they did some traveling. We'll hope. I don't think they did.
Yeah, we should look out for the significance of that.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe.
Maybe one of you can tell us.
Yes.
In the comments.
So as he's sitting there, theoretically, he's been in this dream for that many years. I don't know if it actually cut in his mind, but whatever. He's like,
I think it probably cut.
I get this. This is not my life.
Not what he wants, anyway.
It's not what he wants, but it's also not real. Like, he kind of realizes, I'm not in a real thing. Oh,
sure. Well, is it? Okay.
Because that's when he jumps out of the window.
Yeah, he jumps out the window, and it's...
He turned into a giant.
Yeah.
He does the landing, which he did in real life.
He lands, right. Yeah, they kind of mirror that shot there, but, they show everything around him is literally tiny because it's not a real area or whatever. So he, decides to go back to... He remembers what he told Annie.
That's right. He is having these little flashbacks to Annie's world. Because there's a part where when they cut between Annie's dream and his, when he's hearing
she's trying
her,
to wake up.
Where are you? And he's like, oh, what? Oh, sorry.
I was up someplace.
And he hears like a hawk screeching.
Yeah.
So he realizes where he needs to be is with Annie.
Yeah, he remembers the promise that he made that they would protect each other. So he becomes a hawk.
So he turns into a hawk and flies away while...
The Hawk Master. The
Hawk the Slayer. It's not... It's the Beastmaster. I'm pretty sure that guy was Mark Singer. The guy who played Beastmaster in the movie. I actually ended up getting his autograph way back in the day for a friend of mine. I bypassed the line. There was a huge line, as it turned out, to get this autograph from the Beastmaster.
Was Jack Palance there?
Jack Palance was not there because this wasn't Hawk the Slayer. Okay, but it's right. So it was like, here's the line, and I go down like it's like 1 to 3 you can get autographs.
Yes,
and so I'm like, all right, I'll do this for my friend. I'll get an autograph. I go down there. The line's way too long. I'm like, I'm not waiting in this line. So I thought I'll just come back at 3 when this thing's over and just see if I can step up to him.
Yeah.
So I do.
Yeah.
And the line breaks up, and there's hundreds of people that didn't get an autograph, right? He's walking away. I'm like, excuse me, sir. And he's got these handlers, and they're like, he's like, come on, that's fine. And then he signs my thing, and I walk away past a line of incredibly angry nerds who are all like, screw you! You didn't wait in line, you jerk. Anyway, so there you go, Beastmaster. It's not that. That's kind of my point.
I don't know. It didn't sound like
that. He can talk to animals.
It doesn't sound like that was the point.
All right, here's
see, that's what the animal connection.
This is a good point, actually. He can't talk to animals. This is the best line in Beastmaster. I'm about to do it. He's talking to 2 ferrets.
Okay.
You, I will call Odo. You, Kodo. There you go. Odo and Kodo. The ferrets that he can talk to and send on missions. He actually, I think, had a hawk as well that he could. Anyway, all right.
That he would slay?
He did not. I think the hawk might have been killed, but not by him. All right. Anyway, back to the actual thing. Turns into a hawk, flies off in search of Annie. Okay. He's like, man, I'm flying for a while. But he gets into her dream somehow.
Yes.
And you would anyway. So he's there. He sees her. We're gonna talk about Annie's story, obviously. Well, this is kind of this is the end of his story.
Doctor.
Right. But I mean, we're kind of wrapping up. This is the end of Owen here.
Yes.
So
wrap him up.
So he flies into her dream. He's like, Annie, I'm here. I'm a hawk.
Yes.
She just hears squash, 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 squash. And before he can unite with Annie,
Greta,
who has
Mantle Ray,
kind of half computer, half person at this point. I don't know.
That's the not half person at all. That's the person.
It's the person.
That's the thing that Fujita made.
Right.
To help people, but
that's true because the real Greta did come out already. She's out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I thought
and
maybe
also
the real Greta was still in there, but she's not.
If you think about the conversation that Greta had, the computer had with Owen, was like, I'm going to keep them. What? I'm going to kill them. What? I'm going to,
Yeah.
So, she has this sinister purpose where she's actually going to McMaster them or whatever.
Oh, McMurphy
them.
You were right. They talk about McMurphy, and it was
that's what it
boom.
is. Yeah.
You totally called it. It's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we find out that there is an actual villain to this thing, and it's Greta. She is the maniac, probably. But anyway, so Greta, computer Greta, is depressed, clinically depressed, after losing Morimoto.
Yes.
She was in love with him.
Yes.
And she's lonely, and so she's keeping Annie. It's kind of one of the things she's doing, and she's doing it at the expense of Owen, and so she magically sends Owen to another realm. We don't know where she sends it, but she makes the hawk disappear. Like it lands, I think. But anyway, she sends him off to another globular cluster or something. But in any case, I don't think he's dead. He's probably off in another place.
Probably.
But he was defeated in his attempt to reunite with Annie in that moment.
Yes.
Okay. So,
we didn't talk at all about Annie's thing.
One thing, okay, real quick on the Owen thing real fast, just to finish that up.
Okay.
It was interesting. Jonah Hill's version of that character was kind of interesting because he doesn't play it like a gangster.
No.
He's very understated.
Sure.
And it was kind of interesting. I liked it. It was a little off-putting, and it was like he's the one thing that's just completely different in this world. It felt like everybody else kind of felt like they were playing their roles, like Gabriel Byrne, the real life Gabriel Byrne father image. Is kind of a nice guy. I don't get the fact that he's like this lethal crime boss. But in this, he's a lethal crime boss who's like, blood everywhere, bah!
Yeah.
The FBI agents are they're filling that role. But he is the one guy who's like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Why would you do that? Well, he seems to tell the truth a lot, which you would think like, oh, that's going to get you killed. But it's his dream, so he doesn't get killed. But anyway, it's just interesting.
Okay.
I liked it was an interesting choice, but I think that choice is mirrored in what Annie does in Lord of the Rings world. And I feel like maybe it's a little lesser effect over there. But so Gabriel Byrne was more of a maniac, so to speak, and than he was in real life. And Jonah Hill's Owen was the most understated, second in command.
Part of the time he was high.
Good point. Good point. That's right. He was like, I need the pills.
Yeah, and I think he was fairly amped when he was talking to the FBI people at first. When he was afraid that his father was going to know that he was ratting him out. It wasn't until later that he went to see his father, and his father said, "Oh, we found the rat as your brother."
Why would you kill him?
Well, he was like, he was not. No way he was the rat. He would never do anything like that. And he's like, you've got no clue at all, which is the point when he's talking to his father. You don't know what's going on. You don't have this magical power. When he actually left, was it when he finally decided?
It's like I have a magical power.
Yeah. His magical power is love.
Yeah. Which again, he was telling the truth in the dream. Like in that situation, if you're the mole rat and someone else gets blamed for the rat, you probably don't bring it up to the guy with the drill in his hand. Oh, that's probably not the rat. You're wrong. You probably let that go.
It's possible. I hadn't thought about this until just now. That it's not merely his experience with Olivia that he's trying to figure out. It's also his relationship with his family. And whether or not he was going to help him. So even after all that, he's like, I'm not going to say to his father is like, here. Oh, at one point he's like, you're stuck in this world with a faulty simulation.
Right, which is why he says this isn't a drill.
Right. So like when you do, I was like, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna say that I'm crazy when I'm not.
We are gonna have that trial scene. That is going to happen.
Okay.
I feel sure that in the last 2 episodes, it's going to be that it's the hero's journey.
I mean, yes.
Where you end where you start. So we started with I got to go to do a jury thing. Yeah. We're going to end with he's probably going to.
It makes sense, I mean, if they're setting it up, if you want to have in this simulation world where he should be figuring out his problems and all that he just make a real decision in the real world.
Right.
I think I had assumed up until now that he would just leave and let his brother, and that would solve the problem. But
that's true. That's true.
They may want to have him go.
The pressure of you're under oath, you're in a box, you have to say something or not. I feel like the problem. Well, depends on what kind of story this is, but I feel like he'll probably say nope. I don't have the alibi for him. I don't know where he was.
And then his brother, do you think he's going to follow through with his threats? Yeah, because this is the show before the final one, because we'll know what happens.
Right. I mean, point being, I don't know if there's enough time for him to do that. I guess you could just say, and he made him crazy and put him in jail.
Yeah. Just like, 7 years and kids later. I guess that's a fantasy, but still, you could legitimately cut.
Well, I mean, once the brother's in jail, though, I don't know. It'd be tougher for him to do that stuff. Yeah, no, maybe.
I mean, his family in his stead could. Good point. If the father felt like it. Okay. Although
you're right. That threat out there of, hey, I'll frame you and put you in jail.
Yeah, which presumably he wouldn't necessarily need to be. He wouldn't need to be the one making the accusations in jail. Like it's some other person who could.
Someone else in the family.
Yeah, someone's a family.
The family will get revenge, perhaps.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure how that's going to turn out, but I feel like the courtroom is going to come into play.
Interesting.
Okay. All right, so that's the Owen part. You want to switch to Annie or Greta?
Greta we can do quickly.
Okay.
Right? Because
I think so.
Yeah.
So as we last saw, Sally Field, Greta Mantelrate, was put into the system to try to keep the depressed computer with her personality from doing horrible things.
Yeah.
They square off.
Yep.
It's real life Greta versus computer Greta.
Yes.
And I guess computer Greta kind of gets one up on her, really.
I guess, yeah. I mean, because I think she starts to. Yeah, I can't remember now.
She basically, at first it's like computer Greta is, I'm really depressed. I'm so sad. I sometimes just want to hurt things. I want to. I vacillate between being sad and I rage and I want to kill things or something like that.
She's like these childish, feelings. That would, you're not me.
Yeah, and then the computer's like, no, you are me. These feelings, these childish emotions are your emotions. And kind of puts it back on real life Greta, who starts to crack under the pressure. Is like, get me out of here.
Yeah.
So she is pulled out of the computer. That leaves the computer free to.
Yeah, that's when she said, "What's Murphy?"
To break the system, and so computer Greta becomes evil queen in the medieval world, and kidnaps Annie.
Yes,
basically.
Yes.
I mean, promises her.
Well, see, so
you can stay here forever.
Right, that's what she says. I mean, like, so the thing I find interesting is, unlike Owen, who pretty much still, for the most of his experience, bought into the role. Didn't necessarily try to break out of it, right?
Correct.
And it might be possible.
Until the end. He's like, this isn't my life.
Right, till the very end. But it may have been that because Annie had experimented with one of the drugs, maybe she was, perhaps.
Because, Annie, for most of the time, is like, I'm in a simulation.
Yeah.
Not the whole time, but most of it.
For the most significant parts of it, right? Yeah. Because I thought it was great I liked the way she was drinking and didn't actually seem to care about her sister because she didn't think of her as her sister. She thought of her as a privileged elf.
Gotcha.
So once he realized, though, that she was who she was, she's like, okay, fine. So it was interesting, sort of dealing with it in a meta sort of way, like, okay, I'm supposed to be this simulation, and everything you see around you is supposed to be simulations. Isn't it more likely that you are this, are the crazy person? And maybe if we go to this lake in the sky or whatever it is, it can heal you.
Right.
But by the time they get to
it's a good argument.
Yeah, sure. Well, yeah, right. Maybe we're a sick one.
If she had
and
any
there really
doubts,
is a God.
If she'd had any doubts, I think I could have been like, well, maybe. But she was, she being Annie was like, no.
So it was interesting, like, oh, here we are at the place because that I take everybody in this place to rip them off. But oh no, there's the real moon,
there's the burning tree, there's the moon.
Which is, then she's like, let's go. But at that point, she's like, now we're at this place that Annie did not want to go, which is the place where her sister died.
It's the Bluff.
And yes,
from Bluff. Castle Rock. No, not the same one, but it's the car going off. Okay.
So I guess you could say I think the moment is similar to the one where Owen is having a conversation with Olivia about the moment that was his worst moment. Now, Annie's sister is having a conversation saying, you have to move on now. You have to experience this.
So
say goodbye to me.
Seems to have bought into the fact that, this is a simulation.
Yeah.
In that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, I am a simulation. I'm here to help you get past this.
Right, yes.
You need to let me go.
Yeah.
And Annie is not so sure.
She's like, no. She's saying no. She doesn't want to do it. She doesn't want to do it. She doesn't want to let her go.
I'm not sure what letting her go even means in that. Was she like going to push her off the cliff?
Well, say goodbye to her. Say, okay, you're dead and goodbye, I think is what it means.
But she's still, the simulacrum is still alive, is my point. Like, it'd be tough to be like, and you're dead. Does she kill her? Does she die? I don't know. It'd be kind of...
Maybe she becomes a ghost and...
flies away. I don't know. I just didn't know what that meant, what saying goodbye meant. Like, what if Annie just been like, okay, goodbye. Are we done?
Right. Well, whatever she didn't do it. So
yeah, right.
But yes, it was like, okay, good, and she can say whatever she needed to say to her sister. Like, I'm sorry that I was like that when you were leaving. I didn't, I played a part in your death guilty. Because I was fucking around with you when we were driving.
Pictures of my armpits.
Yes.
And so Annie does not finish this confrontation in a positive way, in a successful way.
She doesn't.
Meanwhile, right at that last moment, in a pickup truck, a little anachronistic pickup truck, Computer Greta, Sally Field, Queen, Elven Queen, shows up with her followers and is like, hey, Annie, you can stay here forever. Yeah. I'll make it possible. And he's like, that sounds great.
And believes that, makes it seem like she can be with her sister forever.
Right, exactly. Which Annie realizes, even though this is a dream, this is basically the Matrix. Right?
Yeah.
It's like the villain, the villainous turncoat in the Matrix group, who's like, I'm eating a steak. I know this isn't a real steak; it's just ones and zeros, but man, it tastes great. Yeah. It's that she realizes that's her choice. Yeah. Oh, I get it. It's not real, but hey, my sister's here.
Wasn't he named after the Gnostic who betrayed Christ?
We're not talking Judas, are we?
Yes, Judas. Wasn't he?
Maybe I don't think his name was Judas.
No, maybe it wasn't Judas.
Anyway. But
Cypher.
Good call.
That's his name.
All
Cypher.
Right. Enigmatic.
Lou. Cypher.
Angel Heart.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so back to the Annie. Okay, so Annie...
I'm going to look it up.
Is she says, yep, great. As long as I get to be here with my sister, it'll be great. She gets put into the pickup truck and driven away. And while she's being driven away, that's when the Hawk, which is Owen, shows up, gets thrown away. She's like, wait, no, you promised me my sister. And she's like, ha, 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 I lied. And so Annie is a captive of the evil queen. Owen has been banished. And I guess the sister's just hanging out on the bluff.
I just needed to be right, Cypher.
Okay, yeah. Let's talk about it says it's Lord of the Rings. It's awesome. It's not Lord of the Rings. But yes, so she being Annie is a con artist and a drunk.
Yes.
Which, real life analog.
Is her mother.
Kind of, yes. Also a little way her, but yeah, her mom.
Yeah, I mean, she's like on drugs or whatever.
And she's worried about being her mom.
Yes.
To turning into her mom.
Right.
So yeah, her sister has a terminal illness, we can guess, is very sick. Keeps coughing.
Yes.
And it's like,
right. She wants to go to this.
Yeah, at the lake in the clouds.
Right.
And so you're supposed to take me there. And you could tell right off that Annie is not keen on taking her to the lake of the clouds. Now, the reason is because in her mind, there is no lake of the clouds.
Right.
So she's like, oh, sure, okay.
Yeah, no, she says, like this is part of a scam for her. So she takes people up to this area and then she pretends like, oh, look, this the invisible thing. I don't see it. Oh, but it's magical. I can see it.
Yeah.
And then she like leaves or runs people out or maybe
she does have, her sister can pee diamonds.
Yes.
And she requests more diamonds to take her on this quest. She's like, it's really painful when I do that. It's like, hey, if I could pee diamonds, I'd be peeing diamonds all the time. I don't care. So she does get diamonds.
Yeah, she does. She's like, oh, there's more.
There's more diamonds. Great. She's really bad at shooting. We see her.
Yes.
We see Emma Stone using a bow, basically.
Yes.
Which is kind of funny. But then she does actually hit something. The invisible assassins.
Yes.
Do we know why the invisible assassins have been sent after her? I guess it's her mom sending them? Or I forgot how that worked. We do get a thing where the mom, it's like, oh, you as a child were not abandoned, but there's a
I can't remember.
There's a very important story that Princess Elia, the sister, tells of like, hey, remember that time you ran away and Mom, I didn't. I got the idea that this was a real world thing. I think Annie had run away at some point.
Yeah.
Ellie didn't.
Yes, right. And she said,
like, wow, what did I ever do to deserve a daughter like you?
Yeah. Yeah, and she was saying how that's not good, but it's not as not as bad as getting beaten.
Yeah.
So their actual mother was beating.
Yeah, so it's not just that the mom was, say, unfaithful to the dad and left or something. She was apparently pretty awful first.
Yeah.
And maybe it was a good thing that she left, frankly.
Maybe so.
Having a positive development.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they had an abusive childhood.
Yeah.
That they are both coming to terms with. Annie having a lot of hardship trying to do that.
Well, trying to make it, okay for her sister that she, was abandoned by her mother, right? So one thing they talk about when they were on their trip that she keeps reliving in her drug-induced dreams is that she was saying that, oh, are you still talking to mom or whatever? So, because her sister perhaps doesn't have such a great memory, maybe that's why she's willing
Right.
to...
Well, she did say, our pact, I protected her when she was young. She protected me when I was old. So so the sister was getting protected by Annie.
Yeah.
It didn't see necessarily all of the horrible things that the mom was doing.
Right.
So that's where we leave it at the moment in episode 8. Annie has been captured by the queen.
Yes.
And
Owen has been dispersed
banished
from the, seemingly.
Hopefully, he'll find himself into another medieval fantasy realm.
And
he can become,
Greta Mountjoy reveals to her son that, or at least can tell her what happened between her and Greta. So they may be trying to do something from the outside as well,
right?
Or maybe sending her back in, or maybe Dr. Mandalay going in there.
I agree that one way or another. Somebody has to go back in to help.
Yeah.
I think you're absolutely right. And it's probably the son, right?
Yeah,
that would make the most sense.
I would think.
Son confronts mom in the virtual world.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so he has his own thing to have to deal with. And who knows, maybe it's really something that the simulation Greta is doing to help the son.
Ah, okay. There's an overall positive.
Possibly. That would be a nice out as opposed to the
kill her.
Yeah.
Just unplug.
Yeah.
Daisy.
Yeah, because the question, is it? It seems like it's not just Annie who's stuck. That presumably everyone.
Oh, good call.
I would think.
Right. I think you're probably
right. Why
right.
just keep Annie?
I mean, she does seem to have obsessed with the two of them. Being together, although she then just puts them apart. But
right.
But you're right. It could be that it's all across.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, because they're all still under.
Yes.
We do see the shot of all of the people still like.
Right.
So we'll find out what happens next time when we talk about the final 2 episodes of Maniac.
Yes.
Oh no! Oh. Okay.
Maniac.
Down on Castle Rock. All right. Also, Star Wars is going to be up. There's a big hour-long chat we had about Luke Skywalker and his portrayal in The Last Jedi. In the next 2 weeks, week and a half, Daredevil's going to drop. And we're going to be talking about Daredevil Season 3. So, anyway, we'll see you guys. Bye.
Bye.